Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back with another YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another one of these DCMCU concepts. And essentially what it is just replacing the MCU with the DCEU. Now, this is about part number, I think 17. It's part number 17. And in today's video, we're going to be replacing Thor Ragnarok or Thor 3 with Green Lantern 3. Or Green Lantern and the Hunt. Or no, sorry. Green Lantern, The Hunt. That's what I'm going to call this movie. Now, yeah. So in terms of the cast and everything, right now for the casting choice, basically everyone who's related to Green Lantern is returning, which includes Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Kilowog, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, and yeah, Sinestro will return as well in a minor cameo role. And that's basically it. This will introduce Kyle Rayner and also introduce some of the other Lantern Corps. So, yeah, for main villain wise, I thought why not let's make the main villains essentially manhunters, but the real villain is going to be Parallax. So, yeah, this movie, I should also mention this as well. The main Green Lantern in this movie right now is going to be Hal Jordan. It is still Hal Jordan. I'm not really sure how long more Hal Jordan is going to be the main character of this franchise. Well, not the franchise technically, but of the Green Lantern movies. Honestly, I think this might be his last one. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of what to possibly do. I mean, I want to highlight some other Green Lanterns and stuff, but at the same time, Hal Jordan's kind of like the more main character, I guess. So it's whatever. In terms of casting and stuff, honestly, I thought why not let's just cast everybody as unknowns. Let's do this as a franchise, or not a franchise, like as a group where it's kind of like unknowns, essentially for most things. I mean, like I want essentially everybody to be unknown in terms of the characters here. So that means like all of the other lanterns and everything will be unknowns. Oh, and I forgot to say this as well. Atrocitus is coming back and he's being voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh, and I forgot to go through the cast and everything, but I'm technically going through the cast right now, but sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I mean the other Lantern Corps are also all basically going to be unknowns. In terms of casting wise, of course, Hal Jordan is going to be John Krasinski, but I want to point this out as well. This is going to be a much older John Krasinski. He's not going to be so inexperienced. He's going to be more wise and a little bit better in terms of some things. So, yeah. In terms of also actually who I casted as some of the other characters, I'll get into that 2 seconds with the returning cast. I'll quickly go through the returning cast. So for of course Kilowog, it's gonna be Kevin Michael Richardson. He's gonna still voice him. Yeah, and then John Boyega is going to play John Stewart, and Finn Wittrock is still playing Guy Gardner. Yeah, and then in terms of the new actors and stuff, then Atrocitus is coming back, and he's played by Benedict Cumberbatch, as well as Sinestro will come back, who was played by Luke Evans. In terms of who I've casted as some of the new characters, Kyle Rayner is going to be played by James Marsden. Because I honestly think he could play a good Kyle Rayner. I think he could play that sort of Kyle Rayner role. So that's why I picked him. And then there's going to be Parallax as the main villain. And I'm going to actually have him voiced by Peter Guinness. I think he could play him, probably play him pretty good. And the point of Parallax, honestly, he's not going to be like a big, huge main villain where he's literally killing Green Lanterns and stuff like that. He's essentially just going to be powering the Manhunters to basically turn on the Green Lanterns and go and fight the Green Lanterns. That's essentially what it is. Uh, with that being said, so here's how the storyline is really gonna work. Oh, and the Manhunters can also kind of speak, but they speak in very framed phrases, like they say like Green Lantern must eliminate or something like that. Like that's really all they're gonna say. They're not gonna say too much or anything like that. I'm not gonna really like put jokes in them or anything because I don't want them to be a joke or anything. So yeah, so that's what's gonna happen with them. Anyways, continue on here with the plot. So yeah, let's get into the plot quickly. So in terms of the plot, essentially we're gonna be on Oa. We're gonna be chilling, and the Green Lanterns are gonna be all right. And essentially, what it will happen is we'll end up seeing uh, somewhat of a backstory for the Manhunters. We're gonna see Hal Jordan, Kilowog, and a few other Green Lanterns go to the site where they're getting an emergency distress signal. And when they go there, they're gonna see some Manhunters, and now these Manhunters are gonna go like Green Lantern must eliminate. So they're gonna go straight at them. It nearly kills all of them. And I'm talking about like 3 Manhunters here. The point of Manhunters is also to be very powerful. That's the biggest point with them. So it essentially kills a few of them, but Hal Jordan and Kilowog are essentially able to end up destroying about 3 of them, and then they manage to keep one of the heads, and they return it back to Oa, where they go to the Guardians and essentially be like, "Well, why is this like this? Like, why exactly? What are these things? Like, we've never seen them in the history of the cosmos and everything." And then that's when the Guardians are essentially like, we don't speak about this. It just must be a random occurrence and stuff. When Hal kind of knows, he knows like there's something going on here, and then that's when he recruits Guy Gardner and John Stewart, and Kilowog, and they essentially just try and kind of like figure out this mystery of what's going on here with everything. That's when they turn to Sinestro, who Sinestro eventually explains exactly the history of the Manhunters, what happened. But he's like, I thought they all died out. I thought the Great Lantern War ended all of them. Because, truth be told, the Manhunters were complete evil, destroying all lanterns and stuff like that. Uh, and he had thought Parallax had essentially been destroyed and everything. That's what he heard. But then it's confirmed that Parallax is actually back, and that's when a bunch of lanterns are sent from a distress signal, and it cuts to the chase, and we end up seeing Manhunters basically destroying other lantern corps and killing a bunch of people. And that's where we see a lot of lanterns end up dying. And we see actually the Guardians are like, we need to aid in helping like the Red Lanterns, because without the proper emotional spectrum, it could be left in great unbalance. So they have to keep the Red Lanterns alive and help them. So then Hal Jordan leads a squadron of Green Lanterns as they go and help the Red Lanterns, where next thing we know, we see all of them fighting off the Manhunters and everything. And once they're all fought off, we essentially see, in the end, all the leaders of the Lantern Corps essentially. Important to note, black and white don't exist yet. But essentially everything else has essentially came. And that's when we realize as well that now Carol Ferris has essentially gotten a Pink Lantern ring. Actually, sorry, so scratch that for what I just said. And essentially, a bunch of lanterns are dead. Within that, a bunch of new lanterns are essentially created, as we see rings flying all over the place. We actually end up seeing Kyle Rayner get his Green Lantern ring, and then we also see Carol Ferris get her Pink Lantern ring, and she ends up becoming a Pink Lantern. So we end up seeing all those characters come, but they haven't come as of yet, where all the leaders are deciding exactly what's going on with everything, like Parallax must be stopped and stuff. And that's when eventually we end up seeing Parallax and Manhunters all coming for an attack. We see hordes of these Manhunters coming, and then we see basically all the Lanterns essentially banding together and trying to find as much people as possible. And these Manhunters are kind of waiting a little bit because they want to wait for all the Lanterns to attack because they want to kill everybody at once. That's when Hal Jordan's like, we need all the help we can get, like call everybody. Uh, Actually, this is when we end up seeing Kyle Rayner as well as Carol Ferris, and Hal sees Carol and he's just like, whoa, what's going on, and how did you get a ring and stuff. And we see her basically join the Pink Lanterns. So now all of them are different lanterns now. And then we see all that happen. And then eventually Hal is like, we need all the help we can get. We need somebody who's experienced with this kind of thing. And then that's when they decide he wants to call on Sinestro to help them. And Sinestro's at first like, yes, I'll help you. But everybody else is like not trusting him. He's like, everybody's in shambles from what he did in the other movie and stuff like that. But then it's all right. They actually allow him to essentially come as essentially he's allowed to come back to the Green Lantern Corps. They actually give him a Green Lantern ring. And that's when the war breaks loose, and we end up seeing all of the Lanterns fighting against these Manhunters. Everybody's fighting all over the place. And then that's when we see Sinestro. He's still helping. And then what happens next is they basically destroy all the Manhunters. Then Parallax is left, and Parallax is just crazy. Like he's killing a bunch of them and stuff like that. And then Parallax is essentially like, Hal Jordan, you can never stop me, and stuff like that. And then Parallax is almost about to kill Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan and Parallax are fighting each other. And Hal Jordan's going full elemental mode. He's going crazy. He's going full willpower mode. And he's fighting off Parallax. And then all of a sudden, Sinestro realizes this, and he's like, I want to fix the error of my ways, essentially. So what he decides to do is he ends up sacrificing himself, killing Parallax and killing himself while he's at it. And essentially he ends up just dying in a sacrificial event. And yeah, that's how it goes pretty much. And that's what happens in the end. Now, for post-credit scene wise, I'm gonna lead up a little bit to Infinity War and stay true to the Ragnarok version of it. And yeah, it's gonna show Darkseid arriving to Oa to essentially destroy all the Green Lanterns and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it though. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.